My name is Sigfried Hodge, 6'6" power forward, former national team player for St. Maarten.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of this, the Curtlyn Warner Show. My name is Curtlyn Cutty Warner. Alongside me is my co-host, Mr. Elvis Flanders. Today, we're going to have a great conversation with a gentleman that takes St. Maarten basketball by storm. He goes by the name of Mr. Sigfried Hodge. Mr. Hodge, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Elvis Flanders, and I'm happy to be the co-host of the Curtlyn Warner Show. Today, as Cutty said, we're going to have a beautiful conversation with this gentleman right here, Mr. Sigfried Hodge. Mr. Sigfried Hodge, tell us who is Sigfried Hodge?
Sigfried Hodge is a son of the soil, St. Maarten, born and bred. We are under the district of Dung Street. It's a pleasure to be interviewed, and I'm honored to share some knowledge with and history to the young athletes of St. Maarten coming up.
Beautiful, beautiful. At what age did you start playing basketball, Sigfried?
Believe it or not, at a later age, 12 years old, I was actually a baseball player. Baseball was my love of my life. I mean, first base pitcher, that was me. And then a cousin came from St. Lucia, introduced me to the game. I was kind of skeptical, and then I started playing, started getting better and better at it, and I fell in love with basketball.
So what gave you that great passion for basketball? Because you have taken it to the next level. What gave you that great passion? What make you so passionate about basketball?
You know what? The veteran players. Because they invited me into their world. And I got a chance to see how they were playing, the way they carry themselves for the game. You know, they were dedicated to playing the game. They just had love for the game, and they took the time to teach me. And I showed them the utmost respect, and I just kept growing and growing within the game, and that's it.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You've played basketball here now for, let's say, about a decade or 2 decades. That's
Right.
Let's say about 2 decades.
Right.
I've known you because we played against each other as well.
Right.
You know, we had really good rivals
Good,
against
yeah.
each other. Those were the good old days,
Good
you know.
old days.
Which school did you attend on the island before, traveling abroad to
I
represent
did
your country?
primary school at the MAC, the Methodist Agagi Center, and then I went 3 years at St. Maarten Academy, and then transferred to North Carolina, where I did Laurenburg Prep, and then from there went on to college in Michigan and on to Montana State.
Wow, great achievement. So you were saying that after locally being to school, you went to the United States where you further your study. Was there a scholarship awarded to you, or you just decided, and was it for basketball or academical field? What was it?
It was for athletics, actually, basketball, as an athletic scholarship. I wasn't recruited in a conventional way. There was a gentleman, he's a director of the college, my college in Flint, Michigan. He was here on vacation, and they're always in recruiting mode, and he kept asking people, who should I go look at? Who's the best player? And my name just kept coming up and coming up. He got curious. He came to a local game, he watched me, and he was offered me a scholarship.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Wow, that's beautiful. So how it felt when you speak to this gentleman first, before you left St. Maarten and going to United States? I mean, here comes a new page, a new decade, a new time in your life when you're going to go out there and play the sport that you like best.
Well, the story that I just gave you was the collision career. I should have told you about the high school part first, which was Mr. Don Hughes was very instrumental on getting both myself, Clive Webster, who we call Saps, and Smokes to North Carolina. That's a school at Laurenburg Prep. So we were the 3 guys from St. Maarten that attended that school. That was the first step before Michigan.
Okay.
You understand? Bishop McDuffie, he was from North Carolina. He was ecstatic to have us here. He saw us play locally. He came here all the time, and then he brought coaches like, I remember Mr. Graham, and they all said Sigfried.
Wasn't this gentleman, Mr. Graham, our local coach for our
He
national
actually,
team at one point?
yes. I didn't
I know
play
the- I knew the name rang a bell.
1987.
Yes, I remember
when they had that
well.
great team.
I remember that well. I
Right.
remember that well.
Yep.
That was our St. Martin Dream Team, huh?
Yes.
What was it like being out of St. Martin in a foreign country, playing to get a spot to take it to the next level? What was it like then?
It was a mixture of excitement. You didn't know what to expect, just based on what you've seen on TV. That was it, and a bit of a culture shock as well. Because remember, here we have summer 12 months, and North Carolina do not have the most brutal winters, but it was cool for us.
I can imagine.
It was cool for us, and when we got there, but because we love basketball so much, and we just eased into that athletic field. It was a
Yes.
boarding school,
Yes.
so it was very disciplined. I mean, just like how you gentlemen are dressed with ties on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you have to have your ties
Okay.
and your blazer. Same way when you're traveling on the road for away games. So, so the adjustment came daily, I should say, like that.
Right.
But we adjusted quickly.
That's good. Your discipline, I imagine, contributed to that.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Because I have always told kids, in attending school at any level, academically or sports, like you need to have a certain amount of discipline. And I believe discipline is your drive that will take you to the next level. So I must congratulate you because I knew you did very well, and
Thank you.
I'm personally very, very proud of you, Mr. Hodge,
I appreciate
on your
that.
accomplishments. Let's go back locally. Let's go back a little bit to our local, where we started. What was the first team that you played for locally?
Brigade Bullets, Boys Brigade Bullets. That started in the B division, and then I went up to the A division in the Boys Brigade Bullets. So we were champions in both divisions.
Wow,
It was beautiful. The brigade took me in like family.
Okay, that's very nice. Because you said you attended the Mac school, so I was wondering why you didn't attend a program that they put together.
Well, if you look at it, the Boys Brigade is part of the Methodist Church.
Okay.
And the MAC
Okay,
is
the same
exactly.
the same group.
Same
The same
right.
group. Okay, I feel you. So that does add in. And you guys had some very good seasons here.
Oh, yeah.
I've also played against you guys during that time.
Competitive. You have to compete every
yes.
night. You know that.
Yes, that's for sure. That's for sure. But I think the great thing we did was we kept it at a level between each other, with the level of respect, admiration for each other. The sportsmanlike conduct was always at a high, very good level locally. I think that helped contribute to some of the athletes like you and some of the other guys that had the opportunity to travel abroad and play basketball. So you guys did very, very well, Siegfried. I must say that.
Thank you.
Tell us something about once you was in North Carolina and you played, let's say you did your first couple of practice matches. How did you fit into the system of basketball? I mean, we don't have a court like what we have here. It's played under air condition. What was the condition like, and how did you manage to get yourself entwined with the other players?
Well, actually, when basketball season starts coming in, that's when the cold starts coming in.
Wow.
You understand? So there's no playing under air condition. You're playing in heat.
In heat.
Yeah, they turn on the heat and you play. I love the heat because that made me feel like home.
Yes.
What I did, what I tried to do, before I left here, I took the knowledge from the veterans, talked to them, I asked a bunch of questions. And they mentally prepared me, although a lot of them didn't go away themselves, but they had an idea of how to
what to
have
look
basketball.
For, what to look for.
Right, just use the game, right, to be relaxed. Just play for the love of it. So once you love it, have fun playing it. That's what they always used to tell me, and that's what exactly I do. So I fit right into the system, easy. I made starting five right off the bat.
Wow.
So that was an accomplishment. In the US, once you make starting five, it's a big accomplishment.
Great
up there.
That was going to be my next question. How did you, manage to, after your recruitment, getting up there, I imagine that you had to go through training in order to be able to fit in the team, whether in the starting five or the second five. So you made the first half starting five.
Yeah, I made the
which
first
was,
starting
as you
five.
said, a very, very good accomplishment because knowing that there are so many students out there that are competing for the spot.
Very
it's about competing for the spot, so it has to be very competitive. So it means that you were at a very high level,
Right.
and then I must congratulate you on that, Mr. Hodge, as well.
Let me ask this question. What was your greatest point going through the high school and going to college? What was one of your greatest point at your school, high school level and your college level?
Oh, when you say greatest point,
Your greatest achievement that you've made?
I am a huge North Carolina Tar Heel fan. That's the collision team.
Yes.
Huge. One of my highlights of my career is when we got to play at the Dean Dome.
Wow.
It was a game before Duke, North Carolina. You know that rivalry is crazy. And we played the varsity team of the Tar Heels. We won. I could still remember my stat line. It was 28 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 block shots.
Wow.
Because I cherish that moment. I mean, when you get there in the you know, you see it on TV, you come from this 37 square mile island.
And you're in that spot.
And you're in that spot.
spot.
So that is the highlight of my high school career.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And what a beauty it was.
That should bring you some sort of goosebumps to see.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I've been to North Carolina and had the opportunity. I didn't see a game there, but I had the opportunity to see the dome, and it's amazing. You know, I mean, what we see on television comparing to what you see live is something. It's rather mind blowing for the folks that never been to like a professional basketball game. I mean, it is something for you to see.
Right.
And for you being there inside that Tar Heel Stadium playing that game before the big game, which is not, I mean, I can see it already. I mean, driving through Chapel Hill, you will see exactly what's the rival. Once you're going, I mean, North Carolina is a place where you have Duke on one side, North Carolina on the other side, and I can tell you when you're going down Chapel Hill, everything between them is turn light blue. I mean, everything to Chapel Hill.
That's like a carnival there.
No. If it's one thing in North Carolina, they don't play. Chapel Hill, they don't play. That's the road. Gonna lead you to Tar Heel Stadium. They don't play.
Historic school. The great Michael Jordan went there.
It's very historic.
They produce a whole lot of NBA.
It's amazing something for you to see, especially when it's the peak of the college games, man. Man, you don't want to go down to that time at all. But let's get back to our interview.
In what year did you return back from college?
2000, yeah, 2000.
Well, did you have any plans coming back or?
Yeah, and you know, I like teaching the game of basketball. I love it. Unfortunately, there were some challenges along the way. And you mentioned the word earlier in the interview, discipline.
Yes.
I noticed a downward trend
Okay.
with discipline with our athletes locally in every sport. It's unfortunate, but it seems to be a regional thing going on right now. Don't know why, but because I remember reaching out to certain athletes here and dedicating my time, and I would be the one at the gym waiting for them.
When it should be the other way around.
Exactly. So
I imagine that's how it was with you. In your time, we were the gym. We were the gym way before everybody else. So
in our time, the coach didn't have to tell us to get up off your butt and go do something extra.
Get started.
By the time he get to practice, we done dripping wet because we run to the stadium.
Being the local celebrity that you are currently and for the last, let's say 21 years, I mean, we're in 2021, you get back home at 2020. What advice would you give to the younger generation?
First of all, I don't want to generalize it because there are some good teens out there that would listen, do love the game. My advice to you is I always encourage them to look at the high school level, collegiate level games. Because those are the stages that you have to take to get to the pro level. And I think a lot of time that information is misled. Whether it be people bringing professionals here to do a camp or whatever. I don't have a problem with a professional coming here. But I always say it should be a win-win situation. A high school coach and a collegiate coach, always looking for talent. You understand? Here's the win-win situation. You get to save your parents money by getting a scholarship, number one. You get an education, and you get to play the game that you love. You understand? A pro gonna come and give the camp, it look good for the media, and then he gone. Or she gone. So it was basically a paid vacation. And then is left wondering, what is the athlete to do next? Where if you have collegiate colleges come here and they give camps, it gives you an opportunity to be recruited.
Do we have that open door where we invite coaches, like you just said, from the high school and collegiate level to come and see during tournaments to see how our athletes perform?
Yeah, I think the summertime is probably the best time for collegiate and high school coaches because of how their season fall. But they do have scouts that travel internationally, especially on the collegiate level.
Yeah.
They do recruit
Seeking
internationally.
talent.
And the door is always open for them. Okay. Always open. As a matter of fact, from my understanding and from my experience, it's even easier to get a collegiate coach here than a professional.
Let's go back on the basketball court for a while. Over the years, you've been playing professional basketball for the national team of St. Maarten. Could you tell us some of the places and some of the teams, the rival team? There was a rival between St. Kitts and St. Maarten. That was one of the greatest rival when it comes to Leeward Island basketball. For those that knows about basketball, you would know that we had LIBA.
Yeah.
And LIBA was held in St. Maarten. I don't remember the year, and I think it was one of the greatest time that we had. We had the Antigua Bulldogs, which was, I think that was the most dominant team. But at the same time, our own St. Maarten team was a team to reckon with. But however, the rival, and that rival remains till today, it's St. Kitts versus St. Maarten. Could you tell us why?
Sweet competition. As you know, we build a relationship with the neighboring islands around here. And because when we play Statia, that's also a rivalry as well. But that's for bragging rights,
Yes.
you know. But when the tenacity was great, but the respect was greater. St. Kitts always had a dominant team. The first time we took them down, I wasn't on the national team. It was that team
Yes,
in
yes.
1987. That was our first LIBA in St. Maarten. That was the opening of the
Sports
auditorium.
auditorium.
At that time, it had named Grade Bay Sports Auditorium. It's now named LB Scott's Auditorium. And I remember I got to train with the national team because the coach saw me playing pickup games and said, I need you to come train with the national team. So I got a free pass. I got season tickets to come watch the whole tournament. It was awesome. That was the first time we actually beat St. Kitts. It was a shootout. There was a player from St. Kitts by the name of Maarten Basketball. Anybody that know the history of Maarten, he probably shoot from a bit to tongue and hit the shot. But then in that game, we had a player, stud, Eversley Baptist. That was his most awesome game I ever saw. He matched Maarten shot for shot. St. Maarten came out victorious. And from there, the rivalry grew from 1987 because St. Kitts would always beat up on St. Maarten. And then myself, and then we have Fatos and all those guys started
That's
to
what
play.
I want to know.
Though, when we start beating them from them, you understand?
Okay, tell us a little bit about your team. Okay, your time playing with the St. Maarten national team. Could you name some of your players that you play alongside. And how great that was in your perspective?
Yeah, one of my idols is Cream Joseph Holloman. Took me under his wing. And then you had Clarence. You had Claret, who played on the national team once or twice. I don't remember how many years, but I know Cream was definitely a fix. Then you had Gerald James. And my point guard from Bullets was Mr. Mark Snooks Edwards. These guys I had the opportunity to play with. And they brought it each and every game. There was no animosity with Bear Snooks as a point guard. You couldn't have animosity towards each other because he tell you flat out, if you hot tonight, you get in the ball, and that's the way it should be.
That's how it should be. Yeah.
You understand? That we had fun times. St. Martin never won the tournament outright. The closest that we got in my time is sub champs a couple of times. You understand? And we always lost to Antigua. The Bulldogs, they were dominant.
Now let me ask you this. As you said, St. Martin always become sub-champs and okay, a couple of years back, let's say I think it's about just before Hurricane Irma.
Under 18.
We had our under 18 team that
break the ice.
Went to Antigua
and beat Antigua in Antigua.
In Antigua.
Yep.
What was your feeling then?
Accomplishment. I felt like if it was me. I personally called the coach. I saw some of the players and I thanked them, because, if I was in Antigua, I'd probably lose my mind.
Yes, because I mean, many people in Antigua. I was not in Antigua, but just like you follow the game, I did follow the game. Send the congratulations, and I hearing from folks in Antigua, they were saying, "Boy, St. Martin team good," and then your name come up, boy, you guys had a good guy, Sigfried Hodge, Marty Williams from St. Kitts name came up in that level. I guess names like Sigfried Hodge, Mark B. Edwards. Marty from St. Kitts, we had another guy from St. Kitts, Glenn Phillips. These guys' name remain in Leeward Island as I think they need to put a Hall of Fame for Leeward Island. They had some great guys from Antigua also. The Bulldogs was not an easy team. But one thing with Antigua basketball players, they always bring home their college players.
Yeah, definitely.
They always did that.
And when our team beat them 4 years ago, it's not that we dislike Antigua, but when you're on top of the throne for so long, right? Yeah. It's a pleasure to take you off it. And in Antigua, because we all know playing in Antigua was the toughest place to play. Tatola was the next place, dominant team. So when you beat teams like that,
well, I don't think, and I say it every day, I don't think the younger generation understand what happened. I'm just going to divert a little. I have my kids. They play cricket. They went to Antigua, I think it's last year or the year before. And they won 5 games. They won Antigua in Antigua. And there's no way that no Leeward Island team can win Antigua. And they did it. And till today, they still don't even know what happened. Yeah. And because you've been a part of basketball, it is like there is nowhere in the book you could beat Antigua. So when you accomplish that, you're supposed to feel like, okay, let's take it to the next level. Yeah. Now, Mr. Hodge, let's take it back home. We've seen basketball in St. Martin locally on its highest level, let's say some 10, 15 years ago. What do you think about that time comparing to now? Because now basketball have dropped tremendously in St. Martin. And could you tell us, the next question will be, could you tell us some of the teams that you've played for? Because there was so many teams. Like I know you play against team from with Elvis, with the soccer guy. Name some of the team that was there at that time.
Oh, that I played against?
Yes, and that the teams that you played, because I know you didn't just stick with one team all the way.
Well, no. When I left and came back, I didn't play with Bullets. Sons. Yes, they were, I should say, owned by who we call Blanco, Franz Richardson. And he actually told me, look, we need you on this team. I played with them. I played like a preseason, I stayed with Pirates, but that was just for the summer when I came home one time. And I also had the opportunity to travel with Rebels. I had to get the opportunity to travel with Magics. With Rebels, we went to Venezuela. That was a great experience. And then with Magic, we went to the Virgin Islands. So those are some of the teams that I played differently to Bullets locally. Now, when we talk about playing against, we had teams like Trotters, X-Men. Then you had Trickers, some Simpitos. Listen, Elvis could tell you because he played. When you come to play, you have to play every single night. There's no cupcakes.
You have to give it your all.
You had teams from the French side that would come back. They come over, they just finish a football game. But they come here and let me tell you, you have to keep up with them. It's so conditioned. But the love for the game, and I think that's why the love and dedication, and that's why our sports has dropped. You have to love the game. You don't play for it for fashion.
Yeah.
at our time, it wasn't for fashion. It wasn't to have your girlfriend in the stand. Well, she probably would have taken a picture back then with a Kodak thing or something because no, we didn't have cell phones and all of that. And that's what's going on now. You understand? It's just the love of the sport.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. You know, that you don't find the youngsters playing at the level that we play at. You know, it's more for them. It's more of a show. You know, it's not about the discipline of the game or trying to, you know, accomplish something out of it. But there has to be a juncture where we can link, you know, get them to understand what is the purpose of trying to play the game.
Yeah. And you know, and it's no knock to the youngsters today because I've seen talent amongst the youngsters, just lack of discipline with the talent. A lot of the veteran players that I've spoken to were willing, right, to dedicate their time to work with them. But the disrespect on several occasions
again, the discipline
discourage you.
Yeah. Again, the discipline.
And I think to bring back sports here, we have to start in the schools. That's where we should start. Those, like you said, at those ages, they're easier to reach, they're easier to be moved. Exactly. You understand?
I agree with you.
There's a lot of outside noise now that coaches have to compete with in terms of the internet and so forth. One of the declines that I saw in basketball or the discipline of the game is when the &1 series came out.
Okay.
That's entertainment basketball.
There you go.
You know, those guys get paid to entertain.
Sure.
But a lot of our youngsters pick it up as if it's real basketball, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, they went away from the traditional of the colleges or even the NBA where you have discipline structures. You know, like I say, you know, I don't knock anybody for trying to make $1. It's just that the &1 basketball
Has
Changed everything.
It changed everything.
Let me ask you, what was one of your greatest games locally? The greatest game you've played on the local level here in the auditorium? I mean, I've seen teams like I could remember once we had I think it was Force versus Stratters, and I mean, it was just one feature to make to get that championship. What was your greatest moment? I mean, and the team that you played for? And just to go back a little, we had like you said, we had the Suns. We had a team called Undertaker. I think you was the leader of that team.
Oh yeah, I was
Undertaker.
Yeah, that team was founded by Mr. Frankie Myers. Yeah,
I mean, we had basketball.
Basketball.
We had, I think basketball was on its highest peak at that time. We leave the auditorium, let's say 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, the outside, we sit there, and I think at that time,
the game ended at what time? What time did the game end? Maybe around 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And we stayed there until
That's
2. And I think that's
conversating basketball.
Yeah, I think that's the time that
Mr. Frankie Myers, his creative mind, he took entertainment, I should say, locally to a different level. I mean, because he had us arriving in Lembo.
It was short time then.
You would have the caskets and the different.
It was short time then.
You know, he wanted to make it exciting, which he did.
He did.
Teams wanted to beat the hell out of us
And then,
for it.
you know, and then,
So it made it competitive.
Yes.
and at that peak of the basketball series, when the Undertakers came out, you know, they came out full swap suit and shoes matching, and you know, it just take basketball at that time to a really different level. Right after, I think that is about that time when Mr. Myers himself went towards politics.
Yes.
And
yes.
he won he made
That
himself,
contributed him to getting elected.
really, because I mean, he didn't just add the Undertaker basketball team, he had a baseball team too.
Yes.
I don't remember what that
Dodgers,
the Dodgers.
yeah.
You know, he made it, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, we want to say thanks to you, Mr. Frankie Myers, for making basketball, you know, giving that elevation at that point in
For
time.
your contribution.
And he's instrumental for creating Medford Hazel Sports Center in
So you
Suffolk
see,
Garden.
you know, I mean, we are grateful to have people like these. I mean, we are also grateful to have persons like Don Hughes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Mr.
Yeah,
Edwin Hodge, who
Yeah.
take basketball to the level that it was.
Yeah.
We
The
had
Gums
the
boys,
Gums
they
boys.
were also
we had
definitely.
we had
Yeah.
Emmanuel
You gotta give
York.
credit to
and
where credit is due.
those folks that take basketball to the level. And I'm saying now, Mr. Hodge, what would you like to see towards the future of basketball in St. Martin? Give us something that you would like to see.
I would like to see, since we have a school like Milton Peters, now we have other high schools that come. I want to see a high school league, not a tournament. I want to see a league, but I just don't want it for basketball. I would like to see volleyball, softball, you name it, multiple sports. I think we have the talent and the capability to create a league within schools. No, it will only enhance competition in the leagues. Listen to what I mean. When you develop the love on that level and the talent, now they go to different teams. So it makes competition greater, more interested. Fans gonna want to see.
Not even fans, but if Milton Peters tonight is going to play against St. Martin Academy, you know what you're going to have?
Yep.
Milton Peters kids coming out to see them dethrone Academy or Academy kids coming out. So as long, and here we go.
Yeah.
The trend is as long as you have the kids there, and then, let's say...
The student body will follow.
Right. The student body will follow, and then the game will elevate again itself from there.
Exactly.
And then we can go back into the district. But continue.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, like the leagues now, like the basketball association, football federation, and so forth, the competition gonna get better. Because eventually you're going to graduate from school. Those that don't go away, they stay here locally, they play. So it makes it exciting. The interest is there.
Leads me to ask, you are also on the government board for sports.
And the national, yes,
Good.
National Sports Institute.
So
we're
this is a
subsidized
task.
by
You
government.
just mentioned a task that you guys are ready to take on.
Yeah.
I guess so. This is something that you're trying to let us know that this is what you want to see happen. Have you explained it to your colleagues in terms of trying to get it out the ground?
It's part of our program. It would have been in swing before COVID.
Okay, beautiful.
So the conversation has just picked back up.
Okay.
I don't think my boss would mind me saying it because it's good promotion anyway. We're gonna do it on a lesser level because of COVID. When that gets under control, you're gonna see it grow.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Sounds very good. Sounds very good.
It's in motion.
Okay, before we conclude that question, could you tell us, you said you work at the National Institute of Sports, and what's your position in that, and how is the National Institute of Sports govern sports in St. Martin?
Okay, we don't govern sports. What we do, we manage the facilities. We make sure that they're up to par, so that competitions or practices could take place. We know we've been faced with challenges with devastating hurricanes and COVID and all of that stuff that we're still trying to recover from, but we managed to have them operational on a daily basis.
Very good.
Now, we have a partnership with the Olympic Federation. That's the president of that is Mr. Bell. They are the ones that have the different associations under them.
Okay.
So they have the means of getting coaches to work with these kids in these programs.
Okay.
So that's the avenue that we took. So that's and not just any coach, they have to be level certified. You understand?
Very good.
So you just don't give a kid a ball and say, hey, play all the time. No, fundamentals of the game going to be reintroduced. You understand? So that's how the game is be able now to be more played on a disciplined level.
Right. So it's sort of like a recruitment program that you guys recruit players to come back in.
Well, they're gonna have competitions within the school levels.
Right.
And then from there, like I said, they venture out to the different associations. If you look at it, the associations would be recruiting. In these tournaments, the associations will be recruiting. So different teams will be recruiting players.
Well, I have to congratulate you guys on that. I think it's a very good initiative that you guys are preparing for our athletes, because there's a lot of talent we have on the island, and it's it'd be a shame to just see it go down the drain for nothing. I could reflect and go back and say, I was a very fast sprinter.
I remember.
And I have the opportunity to run against many guys, and surprisingly, some of them even surprised me. I didn't know they were that fast, but not to my level. But I always wished that I had the opportunity to travel and represent my country in sprinting. You know, when I see guys like Usain Bolt and, you know, Donovan Bailey, these guys ran at times, you know, I told myself I could have been at that level because I know that for sure my speed was enormous.
Yeah, you were pretty
you know,
fast,
but didn't have the opportunity to represent to show my talent, my showcase. You know, but I would like to see other kids get that opportunity. And so I commend you for this initiative, and I hope that it covers all areas of sport.
Yes,
where
multiple sports.
everybody gets an opportunity to, you know, to participate.
Multiple
at
sports.
least you'll be able to seek out the talent from in
Right.
there, and you groom that talent and see it go somewhere. Because our island, there's so many ways that we can get on the map, and, you know, I have to congratulate you on that.
Yeah, thanks. You know, I like to take the opportunity to ask businesses to get involved. You know, we know how the economy is right now. You don't have to give the most,
Yes.
but, you know,
Something.
adapt something. You know, trust me, athletes bring people
You just
to
said,
countries.
You just said,
Wait,
you
it's-
just said adapt. You just said adapt. Why not use that method when you go into a business and say, look, listen, why don't you adopt a student? You know, because if they adopt a student, it means that they can take care of that, at least one student.
Yeah.
You know, if for each person that you can adopt,
Right.
it means that you're going somewhere.
And you know, and there's a process, a cycle, so to speak. When you ask them to adopt an athlete, and this is what the competition is about. So when you have an outstanding athlete, and you, let's say for instance, you want that athlete to leave St. Maarten to further enhance their talents, you could ask a business to adopt that athlete, sponsor that athlete. You know, the returns can be great. Like I
Absolutely.
said,
That's why I said that.
we know tourism is our main industry. You promote St. Maarten.
Let me say this, and this is going to be the first time this is going to go worldwide. I mean, I've came up with an idea. I mean, I'm very deep into sports.
Right.
I'm the vice president of Battle of the Fittest Basketball Association, and also the president of Cricket for Life Cricket Association. So I'm very deep into sports. And one of the things I would like to see from a government perspective is something that I call a self-implementation of tax. So it simply means, I'm going to break it down in my terms.
Yeah, it's interesting.
At the end of the month, we all has to pay that an electricity bill, right?
Yeah.
Now, if the government decide, let's put a self-imposed tax, of a guilder. Every month you go to pay GEBE for your
I see where you're
electricity.
going.
You pay 1 guilder towards sports. If we have 43,000 households on the island, we're going to get 43,000 guilders a month. Now, when you go to the cashier will ask, would you like to pay the self-imposed tax? No, you don't do it because it's a guilder. Now, Sigfried as a basketball player and as a person that works in the sport, he will say, miss, I want to put 10 guilders. At the end of every month, government has to see, it has to be recorded.
Yeah.
When you get your bill is supposed to say self-imposed tax, 10 guilders. So nobody cannot say where this money goes, because it's recorded. At the end of every year, if we do 43,000 times 12 months, times 10 years, and we do the same with Telcel, we can
Venture into every
get
business.
to another level.
Yeah.
But we
It has to be a joint effort.
Yes.
It has to be
But-
And it is self-imposed. It's called a self-imposed
Right,
tax.
I understand where you're going, but if I remember correctly from the last election, the current Minister of Sports and Education,
He was putting something like that on gasoline.
and I from what I understood, it's in motion for that, and that goes towards sports, for the development of sports, because he campaigned on that and he's working on it right now.
That's very good. That's very good.
Mr. Hodge, just before we wrap up, what would you like to see for sports in general in St. Maarten? Tell me something that you would like to see happening in sports in general. And then you tell us what you would like to see for basketball. Because currently we have no basketball at all.
I think we touched on that a little bit. In sports in general, again we have to go back to the youngsters, because us older fellas, sports is secondary to us. Maybe tertiary if you really think about it sometimes, you know. So you have to love the game. And you have to make that effort to try and teach yourself at times. You know, just don't wait. When I say that, don't wait for somebody to call you and say, hey, have practice today. Get up. One of the things that athletes today have gotten away from tradition, not because we play basketball with a ball. That's all we did. We ran the hills.
Yeah.
We ran the beaches, the streets at times. You know, you just say strength and conditioning. That makes you a better athlete. The better condition you are, the easier the game would come to you.
Yeah. The better prepared
Because you have that stamina.
The better prepared you
Exactly.
The
To
better.
go longer. And with all the new science that they have, take advantage of that with developing and taking care of your body.
skills. Yeah.
You know, I speak to a couple of youngsters personally. Nobody never heard of boiled fish. It's amazing. And you know, fish does wonders
For the body.
for your body.
Yes, that's right. Well, it has been an honest pleasure sitting with you and having a conversation. This is not an interview. This is a conversation that we're
Yeah.
having. You know, and I must congratulate you and commend you at the same time for the job that you've been doing
Thank
in the
you.
community and keeping our sports facilities to the level that it is. You know, so you are honestly in a lot of the kids' eyes an icon. You know, you're a celebrity in your own country, you don't even know it because, like you said, you know, you hear your name pop up all the time, and then you want to know how. Oh, where did this name come from? But it's because you left a mark.
Okay.
You understand? So continue to do what you've been doing over the past years. You know, don't ever give up because nothing comes easy.
No.
I like that motto from Jimmy Valvano. You know,
Yeah.
never ever give up.
Give up.
Yeah.
Let me put you under the spotlight. Before we take over
Only
here,
like cottage can.
could you name your 10 favorite local players of all time?
Wait. My 10 favorite local players of all time. No, which era?
In whatever era you want to go. In your era. Let's take it in your era. In your times.
No, I'm gonna mix
In
it
your
up.
time.
Nobody
time.
take it personal because I'm gonna miss a few.
Yeah, that's what I'm. That's what
I
I'm-
don't. To be honest, 10 is unfair to me
Okay.
because I am a fan of a lot on this island. Just like how people are fan, I am a fan of a lot. I could start with when I was just a fan of the game and not playing it to the fullest.
Yes.
You know, I had the opportunity to see people like they wouldn't even know who his name is, like Dookie. He played at Milton Peters when the competition was there. Listen, look. Then you have Tempo. You know, you see him today, he's still with the guns, but Tempo, he works at the post office. That was my favorite player when I started getting interest in basketball.
That was like the Julius.
That was my favorite player. Honestly, that was my idol, Tempo. Anybody that knew Tempo back then, like you do?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Yes, of course.
You understand? Then you have fellas like Clarence Carnett, Cream, of course. We had Bob. You remember Bob?
Of course I remember
All right?
Bob. Of
You
course I
know,
remember Bob.
Fedmean and
Yeah.
Victor.
Yeah.
You know, and then back to my era now. I gotta go back to my era because I'll be forever talking about the veteran players because I love them so much, honestly, because they teach me a lot.
Yes. That's
You
where
know,
we came from.
Right.
That's where we came
You
from.
know, a lot of people know him at SK or Fatos. That was my boy. Or is my boy. You got Snooks. You have Old Man. Old Man, the game. You know, his IQ for basketball. Within while we playing, he used to break down stuff for me. You understand?
Yeah.
You know those. You may people say, but who is Old Man? But you know him from the barbecue now on back street. But his IQ for basketball was awesome.
Yes.
Definitely. And not only the IQ, but you know, he was the one that even lifted the standard of basketball. Because he would put his time into basketball back then to make
that's
sure
why I
that
mentioned the
basketball
Gums brothers.
Exactly.
They would have contributed
Yeah,
But you may
tremendously to the
continue
sport.
with your list.
Gerald James.
Great player.
You understand? Marty Williams. Then I like rugged. Louis Jeffers. And I like to see
A soldier.
banging. You understand?
A soldier.
Shooter. Smokes. Miguel Fleming. Smokes. You understand? I believe he's a coach at one of the schools in Virginia now, Leslie Young. I used to like to see him run. He run that court the whole night, fast breaks, easy. He played for the X-Men and Trotters, I think, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Absolutely.
I'm going to call a name that to me was a unique player. For here in St. Maarten, he's a big man, right? But the skills that he had with handling the ball. Shang, David Brooks.
Yeah. Big, tall.
Big, right. You know, that was another one of my favorite players.
Very instrumental guy.
Right.
Very
Could shoot the ball, could play in and out, and could handle at that size.
He was my idol. He was my idol.
Okay, you understand what I'm saying?
He played with your team, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody knows Joseph Rogers, Joe.
Joe.
Right? He was the first fella in St. Maarten that actually jumped from the free throw line. You might see him now and say, he jumped from the free throw line? Yeah. He fly from the
Joe
free throw line.
was a staggering Razorback.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I got to shout out some defensive players, of course. The late great, may God rest his soul. You had Dundun. Aggressive.
Rodman style.
Yes. And then you had players like Toxic. Them fellas that used to get into it. You know, so it's the list, like I said, I can't name 10. The list go on and on and on and on.
Absolutely.
Then I will come to like when I would say like when I was like fizzling out, don't want to sound too old, when I was fizzling out, you know, my boy, who they call my twin, Angelo Flanders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The man that has taken it
right, then
to
you had
Amsterdam.
Alvin, all them
Oh my God! You're giving me
Did I go?
goosebumps.
Did I go to go?
Yeah.
To go on, it's just so much of them. And we cannot forget again. God rest his soul. Which I call. I think he could make a shot. Just Ali.
Ali.
Ali used to be on the court, dark, and you just hearing the net.
Yeah. Honestly.
I remember he once told me, he said I could play on the national team and not Sigfried. He said, but it's too easy.
I think at once he played with the Kingdom game.
Yeah.
I think he played Kingdom game level. Yeah. Sigfried, let me ask you. This will be the final question. Who is one of the greatest coach that you ever seen coach basketball in St. Maarten?
Locally?
Locally.
Richardson.
Wow. I mean, I've been asking that question over the past couple of months while leading up to my program, and 9 out of 10 person give me the same name.
Louis Richardson. And if old man was a coach, he would definitely be up there with Louis Richardson. But Louis Richardson, because he took on that coaching role, but he didn't just coach. He didn't just shout, hey, guys, go in the game. He taught you the game.
Yeah, that's the key.
He taught you the game. You understand? He was designing plays. He was big on fundamentals. He studied the game in different situational, so yeah.
I got to give it to him too. I assisted him alongside the Force team that came out of St. Peter's, but Louis himself, he have coached the Kingdom games, he have coached Liba, juniors, senior. He was one of St. Maarten. For me, and as you say, you will give him the call.
It has been proven. Proven.
Yeah.
That he.
But he have a unique way of getting the best out of you. He don't have to yell at you to get the best out of you. He don't have to yell at you to discipline you neither.
Yeah, that's one thing with him. He will
so
say.
as easy going as he may look, don't try it.
Don't take him for granted. Yes.
Sit. Just sit. Once he got you to sit, you cannot even try to say. He got you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having a conversation with Mr. Sigfried Hodge alongside my co-host, Mr. Elvis Flanders. It was indeed a pleasure. Once again, folks, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to the Curtlyn Show. From me and this whole crew, thanks for being here.